What's up, everybody? We are here with Erik Huberman. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and then we'll jump into a couple questions.
Founder and CEO of Hawke, one of the top performance marketing agencies. Got about 10-50 full-time people, run marketing for about 600 brands. We also have a venture fund and are invested in over 100 different marketing technology companies, e-commerce tech, and then built our own AI system as well. A signed book, a TV show, a bunch of stuff.
So what brings you to veecon this year?
Gary's always been super supportive of me and just a great human all around. And since he's in my backyard, we have something to go out and stuff up.
What's your favorite Gary Vee story? Any interesting interactions personally?
My favorite quote I ever heard him say was on a stage with like 3,000 entrepreneurs on Summit. And he said, entrepreneurship is eating shit and your ability to swallow successful you are. And I was like, that is too accurate, but it is real. Always love that one. But I mean, honestly, it's more the true, authentic nature of him. There's a ton of examples of that. Every time I see him, he's just really sincere, really cool. We're able to be very lightweight competitive, and I've never seen fun. And obviously not either, but he's helped me over the years.
You know, I know there are times when he's been a little bit polarizing in the agency world. There's kind of people either loved him or hated him. I think he kind of got a bad rap for kind of like the struggle porn, short form content that he was putting out for a long time. But when I really kind of turned defensive when I started watching his long form, like how much he really was invested in helping people, especially people like him that came from humble means, that kind of like really putting out that message that anybody can do it, no matter, it's not about where you come from, how much privilege you have, what schools you're able to go to. Obviously those things help, but really anybody can be an entrepreneur if you put in the work and you put in the reps.
Well, that's something I've come to realize. I had a similar reaction at first, but I call it hustle.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, this is a little over the top. But then I started to realize as we get older, actually the majority of people need to hear that.
Yeah, that's a good
people
point.
People that are already working hard that don't need to hear that. I felt that way, but I also didn't feel like he was talking to me anyways.
Yeah.
Most people don't get out of their own way, don't get out and wake up. And I think he was going through a phase where he was frustrated with it. People were standing in their own way and he need to get up and go. And I get that, but I think then he also hurt the audience. It was like, you know what? Maybe I want to.
Yeah, my favorite long form episode that I watched him is when he was like, hey, if you're trying to, if you want to start somewhere, just literally go to garage sales and find things and like flip them on eBay. Like just giving people super practical audience advice. But like he didn't just say it, he actually like went with his guy and like literally went out and like just went to garage sales for a weekend and found things, and they like literally listed them on like OfferUp and eBay, and like by the end of the day they had made like $600. And it's like, that's a lesson that I think like, okay, like don't give me any excuses. Just put one foot in the front of the other, get out there and start doing things.
Yes. And that is, I think, the simplistic brilliance of what he's trying to do, but most people still find that excuse.
Yeah, no, you're right. Oftentimes when I think about you and the rise of your agency, I think it parallels Gary a lot. You mentioned that he's 10 times bigger at the current moment, but Hawke's a very, founder-led brand, I think, to some degree. You have been a rainmaker for the agency for many years. You're out there, like you mentioned, with books, podcasting, a lot of personal brand building in order to generate, your own personal brand and get your name out there. But I think the spillover is a lot of great business development opportunities. How do you navigate that as a founder that is kind of out there front and center as you grow and scale and think of the next 5 to 10 years of Hawke?
I'm just a marketing fan. That's how I think about it.
That's great, yeah.
So we know it. I generate between 10 and 15% of the business at all.
Wow,
so
okay.
It's a significant number within the people we have.
But not unsustainable. Yeah.
It's not unsustainable.
Right.
Exactly. Like there's plenty of other stuff to scale. That's what I'm leaning into. Also, frankly, like I now have a team of my own that's figuring out how do we scale Erik and like all those things. That's literally how I think about it. It's like I can do certain things from a marketing perspective that Hawke Media can't. I can write a book. I can be on a TV show. I can host a podcast. Hawke Media itself can't do that. Mm-hmm. And so I do the things that I know an individual needs to do, that someone needs to be dedicated and actually stick to it, be disciplined and do it. I'll take those on.
I interviewed a guy named Jake Carls for the podcast recently. He built a brand, a lifestyle chocolate brand, healthy chocolate brand from Canada called Midday Squares. Coined this term that he called Build Out Loud, where he basically like started the company with his sister and her brother-in-law, and basically from day one said, well, he called it therapy, but it was really like executive coaching sessions where they like got the whole family together. But the reality is people buy from people. They don't buy from nameless companies. And a lot of these direct-to-consumer brands or these influencer-led brands, they have a one-up on consumers because they have that connection to the audience and they are looked at as a personality. And I think too many agencies are actually missing that component. Like there is not somebody tied to the brand that anybody can relate to as a human versus, you know, some cool acronym of letters on the wall.
The exact same thing as B2B versus B2C marketing. It's like, oh, does a business ever buy anything? No, it's their individual employees. So it goes both ways with that, where individual executives, employees, owners are going to buy from another business. And they're, again, it's still people to people. So I absolutely agree with that. I think that's a mismatch.
So here at veecon for the next few days, is there any keynote, anything that you're really excited about to see, activations?
I came super open-minded of like, I just want to see what
I love that.
You know, I really admire what Gary's created, and it's just cool to learn from that. Just, you know, even watch from afar and say, okay, so this guy has built an NFT company that turned into a conference.
So cool.
All around his own name, part of his name, and like, let's go see what this is about. Like, I take a picture of like the merch stand and stuff like that. Like, it feels like a festival.
Yeah,
like
right.
Conference. And like, other than the fact that the only thing that most people comment here is that, you know, either a B friend or you're, you know, enthusiast in some way of Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's pretty.
Take over LA Live and do that.
Yeah, no, you're right. Not just an agency leader, not just a thought leader or, you know, person out there on social media, but the fact that he can tie this type of enthusiasm to like have a con literally around his name, and you know, you kind of peek in all the little nooks and crannies out there. It's small mom and pop card shops and, you know, NFT collectors and collectibles. It's like all the things that kind of bring his community and their passions together. Yeah, I'm kind of on board with you. You know, a lot of times people come to these conferences or experiences with like too much of an agenda, like they've got too full of calendars and they never even leave their, you know, their business suite or their meeting room, and they don't spend enough time putting their boots on the ground and actually experiencing it. And if you don't do that, you know, what lessons are you taking back to your teams and your company?
My day-to-day is stacked up. When I come to something like this, it's like, because that's where I think you get that appreciation of like, who knows what'll spot out there. That's really fascinating. Or maybe not. And just come here to support Gary, and that's
I love it. I love it. What are you most excited for the next year, both around your personal brand and what you guys are doing at Hawke? What's the future look like?
We're expanding rapidly right now. We've been acquiring a lot of agencies, and just like growing through, finding incredible agencies that need a bigger platform, and figured out a strategy there that's working really well. Our venture fund, we're investing almost monthly right now.
Wow.
We announced another investment today. Heatmap.com that just raised $4 million they announced today. Our AI tool is really taking off. So that's probably the most exciting part. That's the fastest growth part of the business is our whole AI system we spent 8 years building. So
wow.
That's been really fun. Saw that Hawke AI long before the hype train.
Yeah, I noticed you guys were early to that trend, you know, definitely before it was ubiquitous for sure.
So that's been good. And then honestly, I'm excited for this year to be over in a way, not in a dramatic way, but just like, I think the volatility of the war in the Middle East, the election, the economy, the rate thing, I just, like, it's been 2.5 years of decent instability and recovery, and I can't imagine that keeps going for that long. If you do it historically, it just that doesn't last that long.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited to start to see sort of a turnaround of that, really just start that will happen. It's already felt that way a little bit this year, but I think once we get through this last bit of volatility, we'll hopefully have a couple years of like, then again, who knows, that election could be whatever.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think we all have our fingers crossed. I think some quiet, prosperous 90s era, you know, growth and stability would be well welcomed by everyone. So awesome, man. Well, hey, been a big fan. Always enjoy following you and your work. So thanks so much for coming on the show today, and have a great veecon.
Absolutely.